All right, Brad, I think the look on our faces give away what happened in the game to folks who didn't see the game. Now, everyone watched the game. Everyone is as sad and as frustrated as us. And if you are sad and frustrated, then hang out with us because we're going
Yeah.
to keep you company for the next 30 minutes or so. You know, we've been through this before. We don't have to wear it on our face. We can act like we've been in this position before.
Yeah.
So I will tell you, and we said this last night, and I want to repeat this again. If the Giants beat this Dodgers team, they are beating who I consider the greatest team the Giants have ever competed against in my history of watching baseball. You know, we mentioned they didn't face the 86 Mets in the playoffs. That team would have been up there. But 2016 Cubs, 2002 Angels, 89 A's. This Dodgers team is more stacked than any of those teams. So if the Giants do get to the NLCS, they beat somebody to get there, and that is as much respect as I'm going to give the Dodgers on this show. Otherwise, I hope
take it easy. Take it easy.
Otherwise, I hope all the players and their coaches like come down with gout, after the series is over. Like that's how I really feel.
Yeah.
But the baseball piece of me is like, man, this team is really good.
Yeah, I hope the if the Dodgers win, I hope they all get spam calls at 2:00 in the morning from Microsoft support saying that their computers are out of date. Yeah, we knew this was going 5 games. I mean,
yeah.
come on. As soon as the series lined up the way it did, we go, okay. We kept thinking, all right, it would be fantastic if the Giants just sweep them in 3. But what happens if we get swept in 3? None of that was going to happen. It was going to go 5 games. That's the beauty of, getting that home field advantage, winning the National League West. You didn't have to deal with the wild card. You have one less game under your belt right now, a little bit fresher, going home, sleeping in their beds. I don't know, maybe they're flying out tonight. I'm not exactly sure. But sleeping in their beds tomorrow night, at least, waking up in San Francisco on Thursday morning, hop on their scooters and pop over to the ballpark and get ready for an electric night. It is going to be insane at Oracle on Thursday night for sure.
Hop on their scooters. Is Hunter Pence going to play?
Well, I think Gabe Kapler has a scooter.
Oh, does he?
Doesn't
really?
he? I believe so. A bike. Sorry, he rides
Okay.
Yeah, bike. He's not as cool as Hunter Pence, but he's got a bike.
So, as much as I would just love to talk about Game 5, we do have to recap Game 4.
Yep.
Pick your game, Game 2 or Game 4. Both terrible baseball games from the Giants' perspective. And there's got to be something said, and this is a little. This may simply be about the level of competition, but the Giants themselves in these 4 games have scored 4 runs, 2 runs, 1 run, and 2 runs. Correct?
Yes, that is
so.
Correct. Yeah.
This is a team who hit the most home runs in the National League. They generally get on base. Today, they had a shot at extending Walker Buehler a little bit, who I call Baby Hershiser. He's coming back. He's not on full rest. He's coming back on short rest. And my thought was, okay, well, what do the Giants do best? They lengthen at bats.
Mm-hmm.
They make guys throw pitches. They foul balls off that they don't like, but they're still strikes. And let's push this guy into 80 pitches by the 4th inning.
Yeah.
That 100% did not happen tonight.
No.
Their offense was pretty anemic, and it was frustrating to watch because on one end, you feel for the hitters because Buehler was on, and then they brought in Gonsolin throwing 103, and then Treinen throwing 98. So they're bringing in heavy stuff. They're basically bringing in their own Duvals and multiple of them. So to something, I was like, oh, well, this is tough. They're bringing in all these arms, but still, the Giants get here because of their ability to hit the long ball, to get on base, And there was absolutely none of that tonight.
No home runs tonight. You could probably, I would say, I don't have the numbers, but probably under 20 games this year, the Giants were held with, to 0 home runs. That's just, ballpark figure. I'm sure it's higher than that. Probably is 162 games. I'll go higher. I'll go 50 games maybe without a home run, but it was rare to see. It was frustrating to see, from the offensive perspective, to get runners on base and then strike out, not move runners along, not, at least get the ball up in the air to get sacrifice flies. There was just none of that happening tonight. It was brutal. I mean, I was looking at the box score, and we were joking before we went on air, and just looking at the top 4 hitters for the Dodgers, who were, pretty quiet last night. They were 8 for 18. So that wins you ball games. Anytime you just your top 4 hitters just cruise through like that. And the Giants' top 4 hitters, La Stella, we'll throw Slater in there too, because he came in for La Stella, and then Ruff, Crawford, and Posey. They were, I'm going to do quick math. They were 3 for 16. So table setters were not there for the Giants tonight, and they were there for the Dodgers.
I have the number for you.
Oh yeah,
38 games they did not hit a home run.
Wow.
And do you know what their record was in those 38 games?
What was it?
18-20.
Yeah, and this is a team that won 107 games.
Yeah,
and to go under 500 in the category, that is bad. That's pretty awful, actually.
A couple of things that we should look at. We should take a look at the relief pitching, because I think if there was I would say all the pitching. Alvarez did not give up a run. He only threw a third of an inning. Castro did not give up a run. He only threw a third of an inning, but he walked 2 guys. Yeah. Rogers technically did not give up a run, but he allowed a base runner to score that he inherited. And Littell threw 2 shutout innings. This was going to be rough from the start. If you had been following Giants baseball like we have, DeSclafani in the first half of the season was a near all-star.
Mm-hmm.
Second half of the season, over 4 run ERA or over 4 ERA, more hits than innings pitched. And against the Dodgers specifically, flat out horrible. So we talked about how Kapler used his bullpen and his pitching staff last night to get that 1-0 victory. I think it's just as okay. You praise that, you can say, okay, well, this maybe wasn't the best decision here, which is let's throw a guy who the Dodgers saw a lot and who they beat him around. I think his last start may have been a pretty solid one against the Dodgers. But there was also a game, I think he gave up like 10 runs against the Dodgers in one game or something crazy.
Yeah, so, in 2 innings. Yeah.
So the data is there. There's a data-driven team. The information was there. The Dodgers beat this guy up. And so I think he knew that. And I think he was going to have an early hook with DeSclafani.
Right.
But we can go back to putting this roster together, and we were kind of like, okay, well, Cueto could hold a spot to kind of be that get out of jail free card where he can eat up a few innings, or if we get a bad start, he can come in and throw 4. And so my only thought is maybe Cueto just was not healthy. Maybe that's the reason, because otherwise he's probably a better fit for this game than DeSclafani is. But that's what they had, and they went out there. He had a short hook with them. DeSclafani didn't even finish the second inning, and yeah, so right out of the gate, everything he's throwing up there's hanging, and they're just hitting it really hard. He goes 1 2/3, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, thankfully, because the Dodgers left so many guys on base.
Yeah.
0 walks, 2 strikeouts. And so, like I said, Alvarez came in, Castro came in. I think they wanted Castro to be the long guy tonight, but he just immediately started walking guys.
Yeah.
It felt like the Giants walked about 10 hitters. They only walked 5 guys, but it was like right in this spot where you're trying to have hope as a fan. You're like, okay, it's only 2. We're
Yeah.
okay. And it's like, okay, it's only 4. We're okay. Okay, they got 5. Okay, and then 7. It's just like this thing, where you just lose a little bit of faith because they can't throw strikes. Now, I want your opinion on this, and then we can move. We can move forward. But yesterday or last night, we talked a little bit about the strike zone,
Mhm.
and I am of the opinion that pitchers who hammer the strike zone are going to get a few calls that maybe pitchers who have trouble hammering the strike zone are going to, because umpires just going to get used to calling strikes. Like, oh, yep, that's a strike, that's a strike, that's a strike, that's a strike. And in both the games the Giants lost so far in this series, they were not getting strike 1, and they were getting 3-1 counts. And so some of these pitches where you're like, like Buehler just got that pitch,
Yeah.
and then the Giants didn't get it. To some of it, I think, is just, when you're consistently throwing strikes, it's easy for that umpire just to give you the benefit of the doubt. And when you're not, and when you're going 3-0, and when you're walking 2 straight guys, and when you're coming in like Rogers, and the one that made me think about this was Rogers. Rogers throws his first pitch, so he walks the runner, or he walks the batter on 4 pitches. I forget who the batter was. First pitch looked like it was a strike. I think it was a strike, but he didn't get that. And then none of the other pitches were nearly close.
Yeah.
But I was just like, okay, like Buehler's going to get that pitch because he's throwing strikes, and Giants pitchers aren't going to get that pitch because they're not throwing strikes. So there's a human element to that I really believe in. Does it mean that it's it's right? No, but that's the human element of umpiring. And the Giants walked 5 guys. Dodgers only walked 2. Giants actually had more. Their pitchers actually had more strikeouts than the Dodger pitchers, which seems ridiculous because everybody on the Dodgers was throwing 95 plus.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just one of those games where, you kind of wonder, did the bullpen get a little bit exposed? Were they, exposed is the wrong word, because they were a really good pen statistically all year. But in games like this, where you're trying to do the smoke and mirrors thing, it's hard to do that for 7 innings,
Yeah.
So anyways, I wanted to go kind of long on the pitching because I think that was really the thing where you're like, Dodgers played it like it was an elimination game, and the
Yeah.
Giants played it like they had an extra game if they needed it in their back pocket. So just your thoughts on the pitching and stuff.
I think you're right on that. And having, you and I having watched and played and coached and umpired so much baseball over the years, that is true. That does happen often. I mean, if you have a guy who is pounding the strike zone, he's going to get the pitch that's, an inch off the plate, inch and a half off the plate. The guy who is searching for it isn't going to get any gifts. But I mean, tonight I didn't feel that way as much tonight as I did Saturday night in game 2. Tonight there were about 2 or 3 pitches where I thought, oh, that's Buehler got that, we didn't get that. But we also got some really nice calls. I think the strike zone was fair tonight.
The one that
think-
I would call out
Mhm.
is the one on Buster. Do you remember that one?
Yes.
It was
Yeah.
outside, and Buster kind of looks back at the ump and was like, okay.
I think he gave the look of, are we going to get that? Because remember, I'm back there with you next half inning, and we haven't gotten that. So I'd like to see that one as well.
Yeah.
So I think it was kind of that eye contact of, hey man, let's get that call too. But absolutely the one, Rogers' first pitch, borderline strike. Buehler was getting that strike tonight, the low strike, kind of sets the tone for the at bat. Walked the runner, nothing happened. Runner didn't come around to score, which was okay. But I think it's also first pitch from that arm slot, and the home plate umpire sees that and he goes, I didn't even see that pitch. It started out low and it ended low. So I'm wondering if Rogers just wasn't going to get that pitch no matter what. Had he thrown it 3-4 more times, maybe he would have gotten one of them. But the trajectory of that pitch coming out so low, staying low, and ending low. Wondering if the umpire had a little bit of a harder time seeing that. I mean, if you're coming from an arm slot up here, normal 3/4 arm slot, and you're dropping a pitch in there lower, the umpire is more likely to say, well, it crossed the strike zone at some point at the lower end of it. But yeah, I mean, I'm with you too. I when I started looking at the walks, I thought I was going to see 7, 8, 9 walks, and I saw 5, 2 of them from Castro. I thought, oh, okay. But what really stands out is I think Leon and Rogers both walked the first batters that they faced, which again kind of put Kapler in that spot where he's thinking, oh, I'm trying to get 2 innings. I'm trying to get 3 innings maybe out of one of these guys. And the first batter they face, they walk him. You're killing me, guys, because you're getting your pitch count up. Now you got a runner on base. You got the leadoff runner on base. Now you got to work out of this jam. What am I supposed to do? So again, Kapler made all the right calls last night. I think, I mean, for, what was going on out there, he was making the right calls. He was trying to get matchups. He was trying to get guys some length to keep it a 2-0 ball game. But guys came in and just did not throw a strike. So they just didn't do their part. And last night they did their part. So you're going to have that. This series is the Giants are winning some really pretty ball games. I mean, the games they win are very sexy, pretty ball games. And the ones they lose are, the stinkers. I don't know, man. It's hard when you see such a great game like last night.
I know.
And then they turn around and it's a 5-run loss the next night. Weren't even in it from the start. Because then you wonder, like, what do you expect for game 5? Well, you've got Urias, and you've got Webb. So are we going to see another 1-0 ball game? I mean, that's kind of what we're lining up to see. And the weather in San Francisco right now is cold. So that ball will not be flying out of the ballpark.
So lineup wise, now, Darren Ruff's clumsiness at first base may have helped re-injure. I guess Listill's probably just injured, and it's just depending on how much of the pain that he can take in the Achilles. But there's a play late in the game where Ruff kind of awkwardly can't get a ball, and it kicks over to Listella, who's got to make a play on the run, and he's got 2 bad Achilles tendons. Now, how he even plays with 2 bad Achilles tendons is beyond me. But when you look at the lineup, the Giants have, I'm talking about guys who have, 10 at-bats or 8 at-bats or whatever. They only have, in this lineup that they played today, only Chris Bryant and Buster Posey and Tommy Listella have multiple hits. So actually Brandon Crawford probably has a couple hits as well, but those guys are hitting over 300. Chris Bryant's hitting 462. He had another 2 hits today, so he's playing really well. Buster Posey took an 0-for, but he's hitting 313. Listella's hitting 375, went 1 for 3 tonight. So if we lose him, then you talk about Solano, who does not have a hit yet in this series. And Darren Ruff himself, 2 strikeouts, 3 left on base, does have the 1 RBI in the ground out, but he does not have a hit in this series. Lamont Wade, it was it's been a little early for him for his heroics. He is getting on base a little bit. He's got a couple walks in there, but he's only got 1 hit himself. So this lineup, and Longoria's got the 2 hits, the one of them the home run. This lineup is not producing in the way that they produced during the season. Again, a lot of that is the Dodgers pitching. That the pitching has been great, but again, extending at bats, hitting the long ball. Giants got 3 home runs in that game one. That is really the problem here is the offense. When you can set the table and get your starting pitcher 4 or 5 runs, think about the amount of pressure that comes off that pitcher's shoulders when they know that they don't have to be perfect. This is why those Lincecum, Kane years were so amazing, Bumgarner, because they were only getting 3 runs, and they were like, you know what, on our, get on our back. We'll still win these games.
Yeah.
But that was what was so great about this team is they could actually score runs. They could actually come back. And so starting pitching didn't have to, throw zeros up every time. They may have to do that. They, meaning Logan Webb, on Thursday, because the offense just has not been there. Even in the game that they won, I think they hit 3 solo home runs, but they were not putting innings together where guys were getting on base and they were hitting guys in. It was, that home run power in that first game, but they're going to have to do some things, I think, in game 4 against Urias to extend those innings, to get to the bullpen, and to do some things that they were doing during the season, because they're not doing it right now.
No, and remember too, there were some games in 2012, 2014 postseason where the offense exploded. I mean, I think 2012, I want to say one of the games they scored 14 runs in one of the games. The Giants just aren't getting that bases loaded knock. I mean, or runners at second and third and a dribbler through the infield or a double off the wall. I think Crawford came up in a good situation tonight. We said, you texted me, you said, do we have the right guy up here? And yeah, I mean, we have Brandon Crawford up. Can't remember what he did, but I
grounded out to second base or hit a pop up or something.
Yeah, he grounded out, and then he comes up later in the game and hits a double off the wall, and I'm like, where was that earlier? So it's just things just aren't lining up offensively right now. But you know what that means? The averages and the laws of baseball is it's going to come around in a short series like this. You get to that 5th game, the law of averages have to happen. At this point, the Giants have to score, 4, 5, 6, 7 runs maybe in the next game. Is it going to happen? I mean, it's my law of averages. I wasn't very good in math, so. But I've got that hope that this offense is going to break it open. And did that help Logan Webb to have those couple of early runs with Buster Posey on his 3-0 2-run shot? Now he's got a 2-run lead, and then Logan Webb can kind of settle in. So you're right. I mean, that that's a huge thing. The Giants got behind 1-0 after the first inning today, and that was big because even though it's 1 run, it's at home, Los Angeles, crowd going crazy. If the Giants could put up a run or 2 in the first inning in San Francisco for game 5, I mean, that team is going to settle in. The crowd is going to settle in. It's going to be a wild ride. So, I mean, basically look for the first inning or 2 in San Francisco, and that'll tell you how the game is going to go.
And I know you didn't look this up before, so this is your baseball intuition. The Giants are 72-14 when they score the first run.
Yeah.
Best in baseball.
Best in baseball. Second best in baseball, I think, is the Dodgers, too. So that's how you win ball games. You score early. You lock them down with your bullpen. You get to, your starter to go 5, 6, 7 innings, and you lock them down with your bullpen. And like you said earlier, too, you were talking about these guys coming in throwing 95 to 100 miles an hour. The Giants have those guys, too. And that's another reason they had to get Disco out of there, because you're looking at it and you're saying, he's not missing any bats at this point. I think he did actually have 2 strikeouts, right?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he had 2 strikeouts.
But but it's, he's flipping, mid-80s sliders up there, 88-mile-an-hour sinkers. Like, he's not blowing anybody away.
No, definitely not. And he's not missing bats, and guys are getting hits. And then you've got this bullpen full of guys who can, throw in the mid to upper 90s. So you had to get him out of there at that point and say, well, we need to start striking guys out. We need to make the Dodgers miss some swing throughs and get their confidence down a little bit. Like, okay, we're not going to be able to settle in at the plate and just mash the ball. I mean, that didn't happen because they weren't throwing strikes. So you get the bullpen in there not throwing strikes, and all of a sudden they're going, well, yeah, you can throw 95 to 98 and we don't have to swing because you're not even anywhere close. I mean, a lot of those pitches were not even close to the plate, and the easy takes, and they're sitting there going, "Man, go 2-0. Now you got to come in, get some good hitters counts."
Yep.
But I mean, and the Giants are working on building that, the same as the Dodgers have, and they've got Doval and they've got Castro, Mac Cheese, giving up more hits tonight, and
some long ones too.
I mean, I gave up a home run, and
gosh, I hate Will Smith. I don't know why. He's just is it because he's the same name as our former relief pitcher, and the same name as the
Big Willie style,
the DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. By the way, I just want to shout out. We have a couple people who left some comments. So N Money is actually a Dodgers fan.
Oh,
thank you, N Money, for checking in. I think he's doing a little scouting for his Dodgers for Game 5. He also said he said best of luck, and then he said Urias versus Webb. Let's get it. And then Kevin here, Kevin here is a Cubs fan, said rooting for the Giants just to see KB succeed. Have fun with Game 5. And I've seen this before with other Cubs fans. I think we have Cubs corner because Chris Bryant was such a beloved player.
Yeah.
So, we got the power of the Cubs with us too. I don't think there's too many Cubs fans rooting for the Dodgers. So we got to see if we can use that to our advantage.
Well, and Kevin, we apologize. We will get runners on base in front of Chris Bryant starting Thursday night. I know he's mashing the ball right now. He's doing everything he can on his end.
And playing 4 different positions for all 4 games.
I mean, that was
a stud.
I love you and I play out of the park baseball.
Yes.
We play MLB The Show.
Yes.
So I love seeing Kapler coming and doing the double switch, and here comes Lamont Wade out of the ball game, and here comes
Slater into the game.
Yeah, Slater, center field, and it was Duggar, right?
Or no, it was Duggar. Yeah, you're right.
Duggar into center field, and we're gonna slide Yaz over to right field, and then we're gonna grab Brian and throw him into left field. I thought this is interchangeable. I love it. This is the type of baseball that we really enjoy. So,
yeah. The like you said in the beginning, it was meant to be this way. Game 5 was going to Game 5. I think we, as much as we were excited after Game 1, and then after yesterday, would have loved to win today, but I never felt like, I didn't feel as confident as I should have, just because we know the rhythm to this thing. These are the 2 best teams in baseball, and the poor Rays lose to the Red Sox, who are the wild card. That's crazy. Houston wins, the Braves win. This is the last of the divisional series left. So let's get to Game 5, Webb versus Urias. And do you have any memories of games of past play? Does this feel similar to anything to you?
Well, I was at Game 5 of the was it Game 5? Yeah, Game 5 of the 89 NLCS. I got to look up the date.
This is the Cubbies game.
Yeah, right? Cubs Giants at Candlestick. That was 5 games, right? Yeah, it was Game 5.
Yeah.
Back then, they were just doing the NLCS NLCS was 5. No, wait a minute. My memory's all messed up.
I think it was.
Let's look it up. I got to look it up. It's late, Garrett. I've been up since 5 a.m.
It was 7. The Giants just won in 5.
That's what it was. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I was at Game 5. So that was my most memorable Game 5. Now the Giants really haven't played in too many memorable Game 5s. You got to go back to 2012, right? Is that the Matt Latos game?
Yes.
In Cincinnati,
they were down 2-0 against the Reds, and then they won 3 in a row.
Yeah, and then so that's a memorable Game 5. So if we can hearken back and we can pull out that Game 5 energy from that, we could get another Buster Posey home run like he did against Latos.
Oh yeah.
Do you pronounce it Urias? So I'm
So
gonna
I was
yeah
talking to somebody and he thought it was Urias.
Urias. I like that.
Urias, but so that's what I've been just going
Okay.
with because I've said, is it Urias? Is it Urias? And he's like, I think
Yeah.
it's Urias. So I
Urias.
just been going with that. Sounds cooler.
Well, he could be the new Matt Latos for us. I mean, he was sitting in the dugout. Let's get a little let's get a narrative going here because he was sitting in the dugout just kind of laughing and having a good time and everything else. So I don't like him now. How about that? There's our new narrative. But he is, against the Giants this year. He has pitched 29 in the I'm not including postseason because that's a different animal. But during the regular season, 29 in the third innings, the Giants have 31 hits against him, have scored 12 runs. He has struck out 33 batters in 29 and third innings against the Giants and only walked 3. So he is around the plate.
Yes.
We know that from game 2. He's around the plate. You can make contact against him. Again, the Giants are going to have to make early contact. They're going to have to get him when he's jittery. Saturday night, I think they had a chance also to do that, and they just didn't. So you got to get him early. You got to get him when his jitters are up. If Webb is calm and collected, and the Giants could get out of the first inning or two with a nice 1 or 2 run lead.
All right, I'm going to compare this game 5 to a game 7 that is very memorable to us in the 2014 World Series. The series kind of went back and forth a little bit. Giants won game 1 easily. Royals won game 2 easily. Game 3 in San Francisco is the only one that I went to. Giants lost 3-2. I was very sad.
Yeah.
All that money I paid for those tickets. And then they won game 4 and game 5 at back then AT&T very easily. So they come out of that going back to Kansas City. They only need to win 1 out of the last 2. They get killed in game 6, 10-0. They come back in game 7. The starters of game 7, do you remember who these people are or who these people were?
Starter in game 7 for the Giants, was it Hudson?
It was Hudson. It was Hudson. And for the Royals, I don't remember this. Jeremy Guthrie.
Oh,
was the pitcher for the Royals.
I do vaguely remember that. Yeah.
So Hudson goes 1 2/3 innings. He's got 3 hits and 2 runs. And then Affeldt comes in and throws 2 1/3 shutout innings, only gives up 1 hit.
That was a beautiful bridge that everybody forgets about. That nice little bridge
to Bumgarner
to Mad Bum's just beautiful memory that we have of that will stay forever in Giants lore till the day we die. I mean, that is just one of those things that we're going to remember that forever, man.
Our good brother Ash is checking in. Our guy.
Good morning.
See, now I feel so much better about this. Ash.
Yeah.
Ash sent us a little note. I'm already feeling better about game 5. Yeah. Okay, just to finish my story. The reason why it feels a little bit like that series is because there were so many games in that series where it was either all Giants or all Royals, and there weren't any other close games except when you got to game 7. Now, the Giants winning 1-0 was close, so that's it's not exact, but we've seen in the past where it looks like one team is dominating, right? One team is just dominating. You're eking out a victory. The other team is dominating. And that's kind of what this series is. And the Giants were able to find something in game 7. Do we have a Bumgarner? We said, maybe it's Duvall who threw 2 innings in game 3. Maybe he's going to have to come back and throw 2 innings on Thursday. Maybe it's going to be Tyler Rogers, the rubber arm, coming back and throwing it. So somebody's got to step up. I don't think this one is going to be on the pitching as much as I think it's going to be on the hitting, though. There's got to be a hero somewhere. We need to find somebody to come. Maybe it's going to be somebody who we don't even expect. Alex Dickerson looks like he can't hit the water if he fell out of a boat right now.
Yeah.
And maybe it's him, just all of a sudden he just runs into one, right? So there,
Yeah.
when it comes to this kind of thing, heroes are made, and it's just stepping up for the opportunity. So I'm looking forward to see who that is. And hey, this is all we could ask for, right? If you asked us in the beginning of this season, Giants are going to be Game 5 against the Dodgers, NLDS, we would have been like, what?
Yeah.
Something crazy would have had to happen for that to, oh my gosh, what's going on? So,
Yeah.
I'm in. Like, I'm here for it. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be rooting for it. We're going to come back and talk about it, win or lose. We're either going to be jubilant and happy, or we're going to have to deal with it. It's not the worst thing. We've dealt with this stuff before. I don't want to feel that way again. So let's go Giants. Let's win the game. Let's move on. We owe the Braves. We always owe the Braves for 1993. Like, no matter how many times we've beaten them since then, we owe them still for 1993.
Yeah.
So I'm ready for it. I just hope that that team comes out to play baseball like they've been playing baseball all year long.
Yeah, and again, I mean, it's the old baseball adage, it is time to nut up, because
is that a baseball adage?
Oh yeah, sure. It was always said in my dugout.
There you go.
Time to nut up, because I mean, here we go, right? Like you said, Giants Dodgers. Game 5. This should have been a best of 7 series. There's no, again, they've got to fix this, because the Giants and Dodgers should be meeting in the National League Championship Series. That should be the bottom line. They should have just bypassed NLDS this year and said, Braves, Brewers. I'm sorry, you guys. You gotta.
I mean, that's what they used to do with the Niners and the Cowboys back in the day. They're like, this is the Super Bowl, like this. And
because I mean, that would be the game, and then you'd go to the Super Bowl and be like, okay, well, this is consolation prize.
They're just killing all of these teams in the Super Bowl. All right, so that's it from here. Thank you to folks who were watching us and who are listening to us and who are, this is kind of cool for us to cover this team in the way that we've been able to cover it all year long, weekly, and then now we're doing the nightly post game stuff. So, thank you to everyone. So for Brad, I am Double G. We will see you when we see you. Peace out.
Peace.